Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 352 based on novel. So let's start. All of this happened in an instant. Daoist Scattered Spirit's eyes were filled with killing intent, and he instantly closed in. The 971 marks all landed on the rumbling thunder clouds around the head elder. The clouds rumbled and immediately began to collapse. When they collapsed, there was nothing stopping the heaven reversal stamp from rotating the world, and it came crashing down. The head elder rapidly retreated but was still hit by the force, and his face immediately turned pale. Just as he treated, Wang Lin's war spirit print arrived with its unimaginable speed. It immediately collided with the head elder. A thunderous rumble echoed, and Daoist Scattered Spirit seemed to go crazy. He closed in with the 971 marks and shot out with the war spirit print, releasing a heaven-shattering force. The head elder was thrown back by this thunderous rumble and coughed out blood. He was injured once more. His expression was hideous as he let out a roar and stopped his body. There was madness in his eyes as he hit his clan mark between his eyebrows. Thunder is split into 6 types: heavenly thunder, earth thunder, origin thunder, magnetic thunder, Tao thunder, and spiritual thunder. All types, appear for me, he roared. Then 6 bolts of thunder flew out from his clan mark. Heaven was the star and the heavenly thunder was a cultivation planet. It was formed with a secret scatter thunder clan spell. Earth thunder was the innumerable dust and fragments of planets. It was refined and turned into thunder. Origin thunder was the most simple. A cultivator needed to gather origin energy like crazy until it shattered their origin soul. At that moment, a black hole that could absorb infinite origin energy would appear. This was the cost to create origin thunder. As for magnetic thunder, there were special areas in space that contained powerful magnetic force that made all treasures and spells useless. The Scatter Thunder clan used a unique method to give birth to a bolt of thunder every 3,000 years. This was magnetic thunder. Tao thunder was rare in the outer realm. The Scatter Thunder clan's ancestor had slaughtered into the inner realm and gathered the Tao intent of the inner realm cultivators. Then he refined it into Tao thunder. These 6 different types of thunder surrounded him and formed a giant vortex before him. He pushed this vortex and charged forward. When the war spirit print collided with the vortex, crackling sounds echoed. Large amounts of cracks appeared on the palm and then it collapsed. Daoist Scattered Spirit's marks were also no match and were being pushed back. I want to see how you two will resist the 6 divine thunders my Scatter Thunder clan has collected. Die for me. After I kill the 2 of you, I'll kill the 100 million lives here to appease my anger. I'll wipe out most cultivators here to ensure my Scatter Thunder clan's safety. The head elder roared like crazy and pushed the 6 divine thunders forward. Wang Lin and Daoist Scattered Spirit constantly retreated. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he retreated, and he awed, "This is your 70% confidence." Daoist Scattered Spirit's expression was gloomy and he didn't speak. However, he stopped retreating and his hand formed a seal, then his eyes lit up and he roared, "Avatar destruction spell. 971 avatars, collapse for me." After he spoke, the 971 marks gave off a shocking light and a destructive aura spread out. They all began to explode. Almost 1,000 marks exploded at once, forming an indescribable destructive force, and it confronted the vortex formed by the 6 divine thunder. The resulting thunderous rumble ripped open the void and spread out in all directions. When the 2 collided, the 6 divine thunder vortex suddenly paused. This shockwave was too powerful, and it was no weaker than Daoist Scattered Spirit self-destruction. The head elder coughed out blood and the madness in his eyes became even stronger. Taking this moment of pause, Wang Lin no longer held back. Today's battle would end in either the death of the head elder or the death of Wang Lin. His right hand quickly pointed forward and the illusions of 2 deer appeared. Then 10 million sword shadows rushed out and fell down like rain. At this instant, Wang Lin's left hand formed a seal and then he waved it. Endless light appeared around him and quickly gathered around his body, forming a giant light silhouette. As Wang Lin used the light shadow shield, everything inside the 7 million worlds gave off light that broke through the void to gather on Wang Lin's body. This caused the light silhouette to grow and reach an unprecedented level. Just after he finished all of this, the 10 million sword shadows landed on the vortex and all collapsed. The vortex closed in and landed on the light silhouette around Wang Lin. Wang Lin coughed out blood and the light silhouette trembled violently, almost collapsing. However, a large part of the 6 divine thunder's power was reflected at the head elder. The head elder Cloud coughed out blood once more and his face turned extremely pale. Just at this moment, Daoist Scattered Spirit suddenly walked out. His hands formed a seal and his body began to emit a monstrous flame as if his was burning. He chose to burn the origin energy in his body and charge at the head elder like a meteor. But the head elder was too strong. He turned around and controlled the 6 divine thunder vortex to attack Wang Lin, and his other hand turned into a thunder arm to confront Daoist Scattered Spirit. However, both Wang Lin and Daoist Scattered Spirit were extremely powerful. With them working together, and the head elder being injured, it was difficult for a winner to be decided quickly. He isn't injured enough. If we can injure him once more, I can kill him, Daoist Scattered Spirit roared. This was already the critical moment, and he no longer cared if the head elder heard him. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The light silhouette around him was about to collapse, and once it broke, he would have no protection. This would mean his defeat in this battle. It was too late to think now. Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze, and with a thought, the wind and rain world activated. I'll trust you once more. Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze. It was not easy to injure the head elder, as the head elder's spells were too strong. He could hold off both of them and not be at a disadvantage. Then there was also the spells he could use by sacrificing his life, which was filled with endless possibilities. If it was outside the 7 million worlds and the head elder was willing to sacrifice 1,000 years of life, Wang Lin would certainly not be his match. In order to injure him now, I must use Joss Flames. Joss Flames are poisonous and are useless to me, but they can be used to kill. Wang Lin quickly thought of his and activated the wind and rain world. His divine sense spread out and a mighty voice echoed within the wind and rain world. All those killed by me, worship me and become my disciples. At the expense of your souls, dedicate yourselves to Joss Flames. Gather it for me. As Wang Lin's divine sense spread out, large amounts of Joss Flames appeared from the heads of the countless souls inside the rain and wind world. A lot of souls collapsed. They sacrificed themselves to send out Joss Flames. Those with high cultivation levels gave off a large amount of Joss Flames, but none of them could compare to the ancient celestial concubine. The Joss Flames she gave off was 1/3 of the total Joss Flames. These Joss Flames were gathered from the wind and rain world by Wang Lin, and he condensed them into a ball. The Joss Flames inside rotated like crazy, and an endless pressure spread out. As the pressure spread out, the head elder's pupils shrank and became filled with disbelief. During this battle, Wang Lin had surprised him many times, but the moment he saw this small ball, he was shaken. Joss Flames. You actually have Joss Flames. Wang Lin knew time was of the essence. As the Joss Flames gathered, killing intent appeared in his eyes and he threw it forward. The ball of Joss Flames charged forward, and when it touched the vortex of 6 divine thunders, it suddenly collapsed. The power of Joss Flames was the power that third-step cultivators controlled. The moment it collapsed, the world trembled, layers of space disintegrated, and the 6 divine thunders shook violently. A large majority of the Joss Flames ball dissipated, but just as it dissipated, Wang Lin sent out a crazed will inside the wind and rain world. Destroy the souls, offer Joss Flames. As his voice echoed, large amounts of souls in the wind and rain world exploded and died. They turned into large amounts of Joss Flames and bombarded the head elder. The vortex formed by the 6 divine thunders collapsed and the remaining Joss Flames charged at the head elder. At the same time, Daoist Scattered Spirit's attack became even more intense. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world as the head elder coughed out blood multiple times. A thunder armor had unknowingly appeared around him. His body was pushed back and his eyes became unfocused and bloodshot. There was madness in his eyes. I sacrifice my vitality to summon the eternal thunderbolt of my clan to descend on the 7 million world and punish all living beings. As he roared, outside the 7 million worlds, the eternal thunderbolt in the Holy Land suddenly moved. There. The entire thunderbolt seemed to awaken and then left the Holy Land. It broke through the void and charged for the 7 million world. What comes next is what I said I was 70% confident about. Daoist scattered spirit took a deep breath and sat down. There was sorrow in his eyes but also determination. 7 million worlds, 100 million life formation, activate. Daoist scattered spirit's eyes were filled with sorrow as if he didn't want to activate this formation, but he had to. He had never forced anyone. His Tao teachings had spread over the countless years to cultivators and morals. The world we are in is false. The celestial realm that we have been told of is false. We need to break open the world together to see the truth, to walk out of this world and become real people. This is my Tao. The 7 million worlds, 100 million life formation used the lives of the 100 million people in the 7 million worlds as the root. As Master Scatter Thunder's words echoed, people left their houses across the mortal cities of the 7 million worlds. There were young and old, male and female, they all walked out and sat down. They couldn't use spells, but a powerful will filled their minds. The wood to break through the world. We are not ants, we are not livestock. We don't want to be captives, we want to break the heavens, break out of this world, and break the celestial realm. I'm willing to give my life so that the future generations can have a bright future. The cultivators of the 7 million worlds all walked out from the respective sects. They looked at the sky with determination before sitting down and releasing even more powerful will. We are not dumb cultivators, we are not cultivators that would allow others to destroy us with divine retribution. We have flesh and blood, we have joy and sorrow. Cultivating to be a celestial is the grand Tao, and we want to rise to the celestial realm. However, this celestial realm is fake, so we'll destroy the celestial realm and become celestials ourselves. Countless peak soul formation cultivators who had their cultivation sealed by Daoist scattered spirit so they wouldn't attract divine retribution walked out from their hiding places. They looked at the sky with a vicious gazes, and their willpower erupted. We are humans, not random livestock to be slaughtered. We are cultivators, not things to be used by the celestial realm to collect spiritual thunder. The celestial realm will collapse and the world will shatter. We want to walk out of the cage. The thoughts of every living being surged in their minds and gathered to form an indescribable storm. This storm was the resistance of the 7 million worlds after being suppressed for countless years. It was the unwillingness of the 7 million worlds being amplified countless fold. This power was invincible, even the heavenly Tao would be shaking before this power. This was the rebellion of ants, this was a heaven-defying will that shocked even Wang Lin. This was not the heaven-defying will of one person, but the defying wills of countless living beings in the 7 million world. I use the flesh and blood of my 7 million worlds to open this seal that prevents any external forces from entering. Daoist scattered spirit's mighty voice spread to every corner of the 7 million world. As his voice echoed, his power suddenly increased and became stronger and stronger, forming a powerful storm. This storm was extremely powerful, and it was something Wang Lin had never seen before in his life. It was impossible to see it with one's eyes, but if one checked with their divine sense, the storm was like a sun giving off a heaven-shattering power. This storm was formed by the will and life of every person in the 7 million worlds, and it was everywhere. This storm formed a giant wall that prevented any external force from entering. All of this sounds slow, but it happened in an instant. The moment the storm of will and life formed, the eternal thunderbolt from the Scatter Thunder clan broke through the void and arrived. It crashed into the storm in an attempt to break in. A thunderous rumble echoed, shocking the entire world. The storm began to tremble and roars filled with reluctance echoed inside it. These were the roars of the countless cultivators and millions of mortals. The roars fused together into a sound that could confront heaven itself. Wang Lin was stunned while looking at everything before him, and his mind trembled from the roar. His soul seemed to resonate with the roar, and he felt as if he was being baptized. The confirmation of his Tao became more clear. The eternal thunderbolt didn't break the storm the first time, and the storm became even stronger. The roar of millions of people erupted at the same time. Under the pressure of this force, the eternal thunderbolt was forced back several thousand feet. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The eternal thunderbolt flashed and seemed to connect with heaven itself. It immediately descended once more. This shocking scene caused the head elder's eyes to be filled with fear. For the first time, he was scared. It never occurred to him that such a shocking thing could happen in the 7 million world. Not only him, not even the Scatter Thunderclan's first ancestor could have imagined something like this would happen. Mad. You've all gone mad. All the cultivators in the 7 million worlds have gone mad. Even all the mortals have also, all gone mad. The eternal thunderbolt arrived outside the storm surrounding the 7 million worlds. It descended on the storm a second time. The storm rumbled and countless mortals in the 7 million worlds coughed out blood and fell, but even more people walked out to replace the fallen. Some mortals struggled to get up. Even if blood was gushing out from their mouths, they were still going to give all their strength. The cultivators also coughed out blood, but they were releasing even more will than the mortals, so they suffered even more injuries. Some cultivators' bodies exploded, but the rest didn't give up. Even if they died, they were still willing to continue. They had no path of retreat. Master Scatter Spirit's eyes were filled with endless sorrow as he sat down and closed his eyes. As he closed his eyes, he seemed to dissipate from the world and then became part of the 7 million worlds. At this instant, a large amount of light came from Daoist Scattered Spirit. He became the center of the 7 million world storm and became even more powerful. It was as if the formation had gained a formation spirit. The storm roared. No matter how much the eternal thunderbolt bombarded it, the storm didn't move. A crystal sword began to condense inside this storm. The moment it appeared, the world trembled and it floated above Daoist Scattered Spirit. This sword was 7 feet long and 3 inches wide. It was bright and gave off a dazzling glow. Fellow cultivator, this old man has used the lives of the 7 million worlds and the world itself to create this formation. It will seal this world and at the same time condense this heaven-chopping sword. Take this sword and chop down 7 strikes to kill the head elder. This is where my 70% confidence comes from. The 7-foot sword flashed and flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin raised his hand and the sword flew into his grasp. Holding the sword, Wang Lin could clearly feel the unimaginable madness inside it. This aura was filled with unwillingness and the intent to break through the world. What was this sword? This was clearly the hope of all life in the 7 million world. All of this happened in a short period of time. The expression of the head elder changed greatly. He looked at the 7-foot sword, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Arrogant. You're nothing more than the 7 million worlds. He grinned as he stepped forward toward Wang Lin with this right hand raised, and a thunderous rumble echoed. Wang Lin silently pondered as if he didn't see the head elder closing in. The endless thunder instantly closed in, forming countless balls of thunder. They were about to crash into Wang Lin, and even the head elder was less than 100 feet away. Wang Lin suddenly raised his head as he gripped the 7-foot sword and chopped down. The world trembled and a blinding light appeared. This light covered the world and seemed to absorb all other light. It was like the first ray of sword light that appeared at the beginning of time. One sword chopped to shake the heavens. There was no sword energy, but countless roars that could shatter bones echoed. The moment the sword fell, countless people died in the 7 million world. However, all of their deaths were willing, and they turned into an indescribable force that rushed out from the sword. The countless roars were inside the sword light, charging at the head elder. The thunder he had created collapsed in an instant without any chance to resist. The head elder's mind trembled violently and he quickly retreated. The thunder armor around him expanded to block before him. The first sword strike collided with the thunder armor. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed and a mournful cry came from inside the light. The head elder's eyes were filled with disbelief, and a strong sense of fear appeared in his eyes. This thunder armor was refined by the third-step ancestor of the Scatter Thunder clan and was able to resist Wang Lin's Joss flames. However, when the sword strike landed, he coughed out blood and he was thrown back 10,000 feet. The sword light disappeared and the first strike was over. The head elder's eyes were filled with monstrous fear. His body trembled and crackling sounds came from the thunder armor, then a large amount of cracks appeared on it. Then, with a bang, The treasure that had been passed down for tens of thousands of years shattered into countless fragments. A deep wound appeared on the head elder's chest. It was a bloody wound, and his face was extremely pale. He coughed out another mouthful of blood and didn't hesitate to retreat, staggering as he did so. The head elder was completely shaken by the power of that sword. He was extremely frightened. That sword strike would have been enough to destroy him completely if not for the thunder armor. Not even his origin soul would have a chance to escape before it could be destroyed by that strike. What kind of sword is this? Not even the eternal thunder armor can resist it, and I was seriously injured. The head elder's face was pale and filled with horror. The eternal thunder armor was one of the 3 major treasures of the Scatter Thunder clan, and it was far stronger than the Thunder Slaughter mirror. It was refined by the Scatter Thunder clan's 3rd step ancestor and was passed down for generations, protecting the Scatter Thunder clan. Only people at the 5th Heaven's Blight could use this armor. Even when facing 3rd step cultivators, this armor would allow them to survive for a bit. However, the armor was destroyed in one hit, which made the head elder's scalp go numb. He was about to retreat when a flash of cold light appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He slowly raised the 7-foot sword. Although this strike was extremely powerful, Wang Lin clearly felt countless people in the 7 million worlds die. This strike came at the cost of countless people willingly giving up their lives. This sword was heavy, very heavy. Seeing Wang Lin raise his arm, the head elder's pupils shrank like crazy. His hand formed a seal and pointed to the sky as he roared like crazy, "Eternal Thunderbolt, break this storm and descend." As he roared, he hit his clan mark and released all the power in his clan mark to summon the Eternal Thunderbolt in here. He had a feeling that he would only have a chance to survive if the Eternal Thunderbolt could get inside. Otherwise, he would without a doubt die today. He had never before felt such a powerful sense of a life and death crisis. He let out an almost crazy roar as the thunder outside the storm raged several times stronger and began bombarding the storm. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world. Every time the thunder bombardment landed, the storm would tremble and countless would die. Wang Lin ignored what was happening outside as he raised the sword in his hand while staring at the head elder. The second sword strike chopped down. The ray of sword energy shot out, containing the souls of countless lives, and it was filled with a monstrous killing intent. The indescribable sword energy rushed toward the head elder. The head elder roared, "Eternal Thunderbolt descend, descend, descend." The clan mark between his eyebrows split in half and a shocking force surrounded him. At the same time, his roar seemed to be heard by the Eternal Thunderbolt outside the storm. The Eternal Thunderbolt seemed to use some unknown method to instantly expand several-fold into a bolt of thunder 10,000 feet thick and descended on the storm. This storm shook violently and people continued to die inside the 7 million worlds. Even the second strike Wang Lin was preparing was affected as large amounts of the power had dissipated before reaching the head elder. Daoist scattered spirit formed a seal and pointed at his chest. He coughed out blood and seemed to weaken, but a powerful force came from the 7 million world. This power came from the mountains, rivers, the earth, the grass, and all beast. The power infused into the storm to prevent the Eternal Thunderbolt from breaking through. The head elder retreated with a miserable scream and coughed out 6 mouthfuls of blood. The protection he had formed with his clan mark collapsed and a wound appeared on his chest once more. The wound was deep enough for his bones to be visible. If that was all, it wouldn't show the might of this sword energy. The 2 wounds from the first 2 strikes were filled with countless souls of the 7 million worlds. They turned into mournful souls that began devouring at the wounds, causing black gas to come out of them. If it wasn't for the Eternal Thunderbolt using its might to disrupt the storm to dissipate 70% of the force, there would have been no way for the head elder to escape. However, in spite of this, the head elder was still seriously injured. Intense pain could make one mad, and despair could make one crazy. At this moment, this was what the head elder was experiencing. The pain from the countless souls devouring him filled his body, and despair filled his mind when he found that not even the Eternal Thunderbolt could break it. How could he escape? When the madness filled him, he stopped running. His hands formed a seal and he waved his hand as he roared, "No one can kill this old man." I sacrifice 3,000 years of my life to awaken my thunder mark and use my third step ancestor's spell. Yin and Yang eternal thunder, appear for me. After the head elder roared, his face turned even more pale and 3,000 years of lifespan dissipated. An extremely powerful force gathered before him. This force suddenly rotated him before him and then formed a yin and yang symbol. The yin and yang symbol rotated until it turned into a vortex, and thunderous rumbles came from within the vortex. A pressure beyond second step cultivators suddenly appeared from within the yin and yang symbol. Yin and yang eternal thunder, kill this person, the head elder roared, and the yin and yang symbols suddenly split in half. The yin thunder that destroyed the soul and the yang thunder that destroyed the body fused together to form the yin and yang eternal thunderbolt. As the thunder rushed toward Wang Lin raised his right hand and mercilessly chopped down a third time. The sword energy was dazzling and contained countless souls of the 7 million worlds. The mournful cries of countless souls echoed as the sword energy collided with the yin and yang eternal thunderbolt. Thunderous rumbles echoed and Wang Lin coughed out blood before retreating a few steps. He revealed a fierce expression as he charged forward and chopped down the fourth time. Although the yin and yang eternal thunderbolt was strong, it was no match for the souls of the 7 million worlds. The yin and yang eternal thunderbolt collapsed, and the shockwave landed on the head elder's body. He coughed out blood and his face became extremely pale. A third wound appeared on his chest and his internal organs began to collapse. Countless souls rushed into his body and began to devour him. The intense pain caused the head elder to almost go crazy. He ignored his serious injuries and charged toward Wang Lin. Even if I die, this old man will drag you into the reincarnation cycle with me. However, just as he rushed forward, Wang Lin's fourth chop descended. It was filled with the hatred of the people of the 7 million worlds toward the Scatter Thunder clan. At this instant, Wang Lin's right hand moved and he didn't hesitate to chop a fifth time. The two rays of sword energy flew one after another, almost forming a wave. Inside them were the mournful screams of countless souls. The head elder was already crazy from the pain. He no longer cared about his lifespan and waved his hand. I sacrifice 10,000 years of my life and collapse my third step thunder essence inheritance to use my countless Scatter clan members as Joss flames to activate my Scatter Thunder clan's Big Dipper spell. The head elder's roar was heaven shaking, and he immediately sacrificed 10,000 years of his lifespan. The Big Dipper spell was the Scatter Thunder clan's most powerful spell. The Big Dipper spell borrowed the power of the stars and turned into 9 killing stars. The space before the head elder distorted and shined brightly as 9 stars appeared in a formation. One look would make you feel as if your mind was being sucked in. The 9 stars gave off a demonic light and quickly flew out to resist Wang Lin's fourth and fifth rays of sword energy. A thunderous rumble quickly spread out when the rays of sword energy collided with the 9 killing stars of the Scatter Thunder clan's number 1 spell, Big Dipper. The intense rumble echoed as if space itself was collapsing. This tearing force spread out across the 7 million worlds. The square the Scatter Thunder clan controlled at the center rumbled and was torn into countless fragments. As the rumble echoed, the Big Dipper map trembled and was torn into pieces. The 9 killing stars all shattered and dissipated. The head elder's body was a bloody mess and his legs exploded, leaving only his upper body. An indescribable fear washed over him and awakened him from his madness. He anxiously retreated, his hands forming seals as he did so. The flesh on his lower body moved and he rapidly recovered. This person has the million-world soul sealing whip, so I can't escape with my origin soul. Wang Lin's body trembled when the fourth and fifth rays of sword energy dissipated. Countless lives were lost in the 7 million worlds, and he coughed out blood. His flesh and body collided non-stop. He suddenly looked up and stared at the head elder. Killing intent filled his eyes and he roared, "If you don't die today, then I, Wang Lin, will not stop." As he roared, his eyes were bloodshot and he rushed out once more. He raised the 7-foot sword and chopped down for the 6th time. The 6th ray of sword energy caused the world to tremble, and the edge of the 7 million worlds began to collapse as if it couldn't handle it anymore. Countless spatial cracks appeared, and even the 7 million worlds began to fragment. It was as if the 7 million worlds was about to collapse completely. This video will end here.